With the recent release of Chapter 2 of the Two Blue Vortex, a popular theory that says Boruto would travel back in time has gained more popularity. To be more specific, this would occur in the 4th grade ninja war. This belief started when a manga panel showed us a mysterious figure in the distance observing the battle between Kaguya against Naruto and his cohorts. But before we continue, you know the drill, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I personally have an issue with this theory because I don't actually believe Boruto would travel to the past just to gather information on that battle. What I actually believe is that Boruto traveled back in time for something else, and this was to take Kaguya from a point in time in the past that wouldn't destroy the timeline now. You might ask why Boruto is trying to save Kaguya, and what relevance will she be to his own story? And the answer is simple. Kaguya is the only person in existence that actually holds the knowledge of every damn thing that has happened in the Narutoverse. And this is not all. The most fascinating thing about her is that her genetic material holds the essence of every single human that has ever set foot on this planet. If we look back in chapter 55, when Ishiki presented himself to Code and said that his soul will be destroyed shortly but he cannot allow the Otsutsuki will to be snuffed out, especially when they had always been on top of their game, devouring planets and continuously evolved over thousands of years. Ishiki went on to tell Code to consecrate Boruto and Kawaki and dedicate them to the Ten Tails while he also cultivates the Divine Tree, so that he can get the chakra fruit at the end. What exactly is the end goal of these? Well, it's for Code to upgrade himself and become a brand new Otsutsuki. This only makes sense because according to Amado, the Otsutsukis are alien parasites whose only goal is to devour the life force of a planet. And they simply do this by planting a large divine tree into the ground. The roots of the tree then grow steep and long, reaching every corner of the planet in question and sucks the chakra from all living things. The tree will then produce a chakra fruit once it has finished absorbing all the chakra of the planet. But what exactly are chakra fruits? They are large lumps of tremendous amounts of energy and also genetic information. The Otsutsukis do this continuously to update themselves and evolve the more to become higher beings. This backs our theory of Code evolving once he obtained the chakra fruit. There's one missing thing here. Why is Code supposed to consume a chakra fruit to make him Otsutsuki? Why does he also have to feed Boruto and Kawaki to the Ten Tails to achieve this fruit? Well, as Amado explained, Otsutsukis always make use of the Ten Tails when they attack a planet because it's the Ten Tails that become the Divine Tree. The Ten Tails is basically a seedling that initially plants into the ground. It then grows into the Divine Tree, which then consumes the planet and bears the chakra fruit. Something important to note is that the Ten Tails cannot just be buried into the soil and water it for it to become the Divine Tree. There's a special condition that has to be met, and this is the feeding of one Otsutsuki to the Ten Tails. This is exactly why the Otsutsukis move in pairs when going around conquering planets, because one is the sacrificial lamb that would be fed to the God Tree while the other would eat the chakra fruit that the tree bears. This explains why Code needs to feed either Boruto or Kawaki to the God Tree. This is the way Code would become an Otsutsuki because their DNA is embedded into the fruit of the tree. Code won't only get the Otsutsuki DNA, but since the fruit is also a crystallization of a planet's life, it would also grant him enormous power because it's basically the total record of all the life that ever lived and died on the planet, including that of Ishiki. But let's try to understand the entirety of what this exactly means. Not only will a person gain new powers from the chakra fruit, but will have the record of everyone who had set foot on the planet and an entire history of what has occurred. This is the exact place Kaguya comes in. How, you may ask? Well, if you remember, Kaguya is the only person we know to have consumed a chakra fruit molded by the essence of the planet in the Narutoverse. Now, not only does she have a record of everything that has been done on the planet, but she also has the genetic material of everyone who has ever lived or died on the planet. Have we lost track of our initial topic of Boruto going back in time? No, because it's at this moment it comes up. If you can recall, I mentioned that Kaguya has the entire knowledge of the world, seeing as she had consumed the chakra fruit. And Boruto needs this knowledge in question. Kaguya has also messed with everyone's memory on the planet before, and this was mentioned by Momoshiki also in chapter 79. To understand this better, let's go back to the moment Kaguya landed on this planet. From the resources we have, we know that the God Tree had already been planted even before Kaguya's arrival. It was also implied by a side character that it had been there for several millennia. Kaguya's and Ishiki's mission was to get the chakra fruit. Amado implied that Kaguya was meant to be fed to the God Tree so as to provide the tree with the nutrients of an Otsutsuki. And then the fruit was then to be returned to the Otsutsuki clan. Amado then implied that Kaguya attacked Ishiki off guard, which ended up resulting in him shrinking himself up and flying to the head of Jigen, who was a monk that happened to be nearby. Kaguya then lives a peaceful life with the humans and gets pregnant by an emperor named Tenji. When she ends up being betrayed by him, she consumes the chakra fruit and awakens the Reine Sharingan and places the entire planet under Tsukuyomi. She did this to stop the war among the humans and also protect the planet she had come to love. She then released some humans from the Tsukuyomi since she didn't want all of them to die. She gives birth to both Hagoromo and Hamura, who, after finding out the truth behind the God Tree, which kills them and turns them into white Zetsus, confronts their mother. Kaguya tells them that she did this to protect the planet from invaders. These invaders were later revealed to be Momoshiki, Kenshiki, and Urashiki. The two brothers were not having it and decided to fight against her. Hurt by their betrayal, she launched an all-out attack against the both of them to regain the chakra she had shared with them. Hagoromo and Hamura, after a long fight, ended up sealing Kaguya using the six-path Chibaku Tensei, and then they both parted after this. Hamura decides to go to the newly formed moon to check up on their mother, while Hagoromo remained on Earth to share chakra with every human and connect each other to the newly formed concept called Ninshu. And, well, you all know what happened after this: the formation of stronger clans, war against each other, and many more. The most prominent clans were the Senju and Uchiha clan, who were the direct descendants of the grandchildren of Hagoromo, Indra, and Ashura. The Yuga clan, on the other hand, are the descendants of Hamura, who went to the moon. This simply means some of his descendants at one point migrated from the moon to the earth. All these simply established the chakra link between all humans and Kaguya. So this provides a brief history of the universe to Kaguya. But a question to ask is, how will Kaguya get the knowledge about the history of the world since she was sealed centuries ago? Have you forgotten about Black Zetsu? Cause this is where he comes in. Before she was sealed entirely, she created a physical manifestation of her will in the form of Black Zetsu. He went on to record and also shape the ninja world. All the information he gathered was then shared to Kaguya once she was resurrected, which made her to know the names of existing characters including Ashura or Indra. But what exactly does Boruto need from Kaguya? Well, it goes to the history of the Ten Tails, the original one. In the recent chapter of Boruto, Boruto says that Code doesn't seem to understand the true horrors of the Ten Tails. This refers to the crimes that were created by Code by infusing the Ten Tails itself with his karma. Code replies that they are beasts that would bite anything they see in their vicinity until they run into an actual Otsutsuki. This makes sense because the Ten Tails would turn into the God Tree after consuming an Otsutsuki. Boruto tells Code that if he's not careful with his leash over them, that in the future he would lose control over them and it would be disastrous. We must remember that these clawgrams or crimes are quite different from the fisher beings we saw in the war with the original Ten Tails. This implies that something fishy and sinister is going on. This brings me back to the original Ten Tails. As we all know, you have to feed a living Otsutsuki to the Ten Tails in order to produce a divine tree. But for some reasons, Kaguya didn't do that for planet Earth, because when she arrived there was already a divine tree. And since the tree had been there for millennia, Kaguya and Ishiki did not plant the tree. This theory is also supported by the fact that Ishiki had his own Ten Tails and didn't get to plant it. So who then planted this divine tree? And why wasn't the chakra fruit harvested? Well, we have no idea who planted this tree. All we know is Kaguya was sent to harvest this chakra fruit. Maybe it actually takes years for the tree to procure a chakra fruit. It's also possible that the original Otsutsuki who planted the tree sent Kaguya and Ishiki to harvest the fruit. Boruto might find the turtle used in the anime or the Ishiki turtle to go back in time. The limitation of the turtle's time travel ability is, however, unknown. Boruto could go back in time to save Kaguya, exchange information, team up, and stop the current threat. This could be Kaguya's redemption, similar to Orochimaru's in helping the Hidden Leaf Village. What do you think of this? Do let us know in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.